we're going to do a bunch of seated work today. So let's start sitting upright nice and tall with our right leg fully extended, and our left knee is going to be bent with the foot flat to the mat. We're going to reach our arms forward nice and long, and we're going to tilt the hips back and just sink into that low C curve. Dropping the shoulders down, a little bow of the head, but not where your head and your neck is craning and dropping forward. You just kind of want to lengthen across the back of the neck as your crown of your head pulls forward. And then we're going to curl back up and sit up nice and tall. Feel those muscles up your back extensors engaged to help prop you up and to sit up nice and tall. And then hips tilt and we curl back. And sitting up, rising, stretching tall. Left leg is going to straighten, right knee is going to bend. And once again, we'll extend up towards the ceiling, reaching the arms forward, and hips will tilt back, drawing our belly to our back, and curling and sitting up, stretching nice and tall. Hips tilt, rounding through the low back, and rising nice and tall, nice and long. We're going to go legs straight, sitting up as tall as we can. Chin to chest, we forward fold, and we stretch out nice and long over the legs. You can take hold of your legs, if you can even reach for your feet, you can reach for your toes for that bigger stretch up the back of the leg by creating that flexion at the ankle. Pressing the back of the knees down. And we'll curl up and restack the back, stretching tall towards the ceiling. One more forward fold, forward roll. We curl forward, stretch out nice and long, taking hold of the legs or reaching for the feet. Trying not to over shrug the shoulder as you stretch forward over the legs, creating that lengthening along the back of the legs and up the spine. And slow as you restack the back, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to go into our butterfly pose, soles of the feet together. Holding on to the legs towards the ankles, we're going to stretch the spine up, lift the chest up for the ceiling, drop the head and shoulders back. Slow as we reset back to neutral, press those shoulders down towards the hips. We lengthen and reach up towards the ceiling, nice and tall, stretch long. And chest lifts up, shoulders drop back. And slow to reset, we go chin to chest, forward fold, rounding the spine, walking the hands forward past the feet and legs to stretch out nice and long overhead. And hands walk back. We sit up tall, roll the shoulders back and down. And then chin to chest, forward fold. And we walk our hands forward once again. Reaching out nice and long past the feet towards the end of your mat. Letting the legs drop for the floor. And next breath, we walk the hands back, curl and restack, stretching up nice and tall, nice and long for the ceiling. We'll bring our legs back to center, extend just the right leg out once again across the mat. You want to be sitting up nice and tall, out of your sit bones, and the arms come forward. We're going to go back into that C curve, creating that curvature of the spine. And then left arm is going to twist out to the left. We're going to rotate through the mid-ribs and twist back. Look back over that left shoulder and arm. And left arm comes around back to center. And we twist back to the left again. Rotating through the mid-ribs. And center. Right arm reaches out to the side. We twist again through the bra line. Staying in that C curve, that little tilt of the hips back. You can do this, of course, from a neutral spine if you're avoiding flexion in your back. Right hand comes forward for the reset, and then arm rotates, chest rotates, twisting back, looking back over that right side, right arm, right shoulder. Coming around back to the front, we sit up, we stretch tall, and we'll change the leg position. Left leg straightens, right knee bends, and right arm leads the way. We twist to the right. Right arm rotates back, we twist back, and to the front. Coming into that C curve, and rotating back. Reaching long with the arms, so you feel that tension building out of the shoulder. Rotating over to the left side now. Coming back to center, sitting up, sitting tall. Legs go straight out in front of you, hands come behind you. Propping yourself up nice and tall, nice and long, proud chest. We're going to press the hips up into this bridge, lifting the hips high, and slow to lower down, nice and controlled, keeping the shoulders away from the neck, away from the ears. Stretching the spine long towards the ceiling and legs reaching out far to the end of the mat. We lift the hips up. And slow to lower. Keep the spine long, shoulders down. Hips connect back to the mat. Arms come around and we forward fold out over the legs. Reaching overhead for the feet. As you stretch long over the legs, pressing the back of the knees down, gliding the shoulders down away from the ears, away from the neck. And we slow to restack. Sitting up nice and tall, hands come back behind us. Proud chest, chest is lifted. And hips lift up, back up towards the ceiling. And slow to lower, keeping the long spine, the shrug away from the shoulders, away from the neck. One more, we push up. And lower. Hips connect to the mat, we stay proud chested, and then arms come forward and we curl and stretch out nice and long over the legs, reaching for the feet. As we begin to curl up, we're going to bend that right knee, bringing the knee towards the chest. We're going to curl up and sit tall. Floating the right foot up off of the mat, we're going to hug that right knee to the chest for 1, pull it in for 2, last pulse for 3, and the leg extends out. Our arms reach forward, we're going to curl and roll back. Rolling back to the mat, extending that leg out, arms reach overhead, stretching long, and arms flow forward. Chin down towards the chest without craning the head and the neck forward, and we curl and we roll up. Bending that right knee, we pull it in towards the chest for 1, 2, and 3. Right leg extends out, stretching it nice and long. Hips tilt back, we curl back nice and slow along the mat. Reaching the arms overhead, ribs knit down and in. And we begin to lift that forward fold. Curling and rolling up. And we sit tall, stretching long for the ceiling, placing that right foot to the mat with the bent knee. Chest lifts up, head drops back. And we'll reset. Right leg straightens across the mat. We're going to bend the left knee, bring the foot towards the hip, floating the foot up off the mat. We pull it in for 3 pulses, nice and slow. Good control. 1 more. And left leg extends out. Arms reach forward. We're going to curl and roll back. Nice and slow, up the spine, all the way to the floor. Arms reach back, nice and long. And they flow forward. Head, neck, chest begins to lift. We curl and roll up. And bending that left knee, sitting up tall as we pull the knee towards the chest for that triple pulse. Keeping the right leg nice and straight. And left leg lengthens. Arms reach out. We curl and roll back. Piece by piece along the spine, all the way back to the floor. The arms reach overhead. And we begin to fold forward. Fold and lift. Curling and rolling up. And we bend the knee, place the foot back to the mat, sitting up nice and tall. We lift the chest up for the ceiling, drop the head back. And slow to reset. Legs and feet are going to come about mat width apart. Flexed at the ankle. We're going to pull the hips back so we're sitting tall, up out of our sit bones so our hips are not tucked under. And the arms come forward. We forward fold, stretching out nice and long over the legs. Reaching through the feet as you press the back of the knees down. We draw the foot back towards the shin. Slide the shoulders down. Stretch your neck longer. Feel that stretch travel up the back of the legs. We're going to hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're going to take your right hand, right arm, lace it under the left, and rotate through the mid-ribs. Trying to look out underneath that left arm as your right arm reaches through. Rotating through the chest and the shoulders to drop that right shoulder towards the floor. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back to center. Stretching forward evenly and balanced over the legs. And then left hand comes under the right. Reaching across the leg, across your mat, we twist. To drop that left shoulder down towards the floor, look out under the right arm. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to center. Driving ourselves forward, sliding those shoulders down the back, pressing the legs as straight as you can. And right arm laces under. Reaching across the thigh, across the leg, we twist through the mid-ribs, pressing the legs down, looking out under that left arm. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands to the feet of the legs. Press it forward. Stretch nice and long. Last one, left arm laces under the right, goes across the leg, across your mat, and shoulder twists down into the left as you look under that right arm. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slow to unwind. Hands back to the legs or the feet. Bend forward, hinging forward even at the hip. Stretching the spine nice and long. Holding for another 3, 2, 1. Hands come off. We're going to curl and roll back. Curling back, rolling along the mat. Arms reach up overhead, stretching far above us as we draw the ribs down and in, keeping the abdominals knitted in nice and tight, bracing strong through the core. Arms then float forward. Head, neck, chest begins to lift. We curl up off of the mat, one vertebra, one piece of the back at a time, and we stretch out nice and long, reaching towards the feet, and we tilt back, curl back, rolling along the spine. Each little segment nice and slow. Slow everything way down. Stretching longer with the legs, farther with the arms. And arms come forward as we fold at the mid-ribs to lift the head, neck, and chest. And we curl. We reach out, stretch out, nice and long, out over the legs. And we curl up and restack. Bringing our legs to center, we're going to cross that right foot and leg over the left. And we're going to wrap our left arm around that right knee, twisting to the right, looking back over that right shoulder, right arm, straighten the back, extend the spine, lift the chest, weight that right hip. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slow to unwind, and we're going to counter stretch to the other side. Twisting to the left, looking back over that left shoulder, sitting taller and longer. 3, 2, and 1. We're going to drop our right leg into that gentleman's pose, almost like our pigeon position. So the side of that right foot and ankle is resting on your thigh. And then we're going to walk our hands forward and stretch forward over that left leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow to restack. Sitting up nice and tall, holding on to that right leg, the chest lifts. We extend the spine, drop the head back. And return to that nice tall spine to center. Right leg straightens out. We're going to cross our left leg over the right. Wrap our right arm around that left knee and we twist back, look back over that left shoulder. Weighting the left hip as we reach the right leg out nice and long. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Left arm comes around, wraps around that left knee, and we look back over that right shoulder. Use the muscles up the back to extend and lengthen the spine as you knit the ribs in, bracing through the abdominals as you twist and rotate. 3, 2, 1. We cross that left leg over the right thigh, and we curl and round forward out over the leg, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sitting up, and we stretch nice and tall towards the ceiling. We'll unwind the legs. Let's bend the knees and keep the feet flat on the mat. We sit up nice and tall, and our arms come forward. Hips tilt back, we curl back. Rolling to the base of the shoulder blade, and fold and curl. Rolling up, sitting up nice and tall. Hips tilt back. We tilt back and roll along the spine piece by piece all the way through to just to the tip of the shoulder blade. Keep the ribs knitted in and fold. Curling and rolling up, sitting up nice and tall, and we tilt and stretch back along the mat. We curl back, coming back to just the base of the shoulder blades. Fingers are going to interlace. We'll place our hands behind our head. Staying in our chest lift, we'll bring that right leg up to tabletop, and we'll hinge at the hip for those single leg lifts. Two more. Right foot comes to the mat. Arms reach forward. We fold and curl. Curling and rolling up. Sitting up, sitting tall. And hips tilt. We roll along the spine. Piece by piece. Up the back, just to the bottom of the shoulder blade. Maintaining the rib cage knitted in. And we curl and roll up. Sitting up, sitting tall. Stretching long to the ceiling. And exhale, hips tilt back. Curling back and pausing at the bottom of the shoulder blade. Fingers interlace, bringing the hands back behind the head. And left leg floats to tabletop. Working into those single leg lifts. We hinge at the hip. Lowering the foot to the mat, lifting the leg back to tabletop. Maintaining that bend in the knee. Last two. And the foot rests back to the mat. Arms come forward. We fold and curl. Curling and rolling up. Sitting tall. Drop the feet and the legs into your butterfly stretch. Extend the spine. And hinge at the hip to lean forward towards the feet. And then chin to chest, forward fold. We roll and bow forward. And curl up. And restack the back, sitting up nice and tall. One more, hinge at the hip. Leaning forward, nice flat back, proud chest. Feel the muscles along the spine fire as you extend the back. And chin to chest, forward fold. We curl and roll. Rounding the spine out over the legs. And curling up. And restacking the back, sitting up nice and tall. We'll bring our feet and our legs back to center. Arms return to the front and we tilt the hips back. We curl and roll back just to the base of the shoulder blade. Fingers interlace. We bring the hands back behind the head. And we twist over onto that right shoulder blade. And through to center. And twist over to the left. Moving across the bra line, just below the shoulder blades, through the midribs, as we rock from shoulder blade to shoulder blade, moving from underarm to underarm. One more each side. And we pause at center. Arms reach forward, folding and curling, rolling forward, sitting up, sitting tall, and exhale, hips tilt back. We curl back once again, stretching along the spine, ribs and belly pulls in tight, fingers interlace, hands behind the head. We're going to bring our right leg to tabletop. And inhale, extend that right leg out and draw it back. Gliding the shoulders down, keeping the neck nice and long as the head falls back into your hands. We extend and lengthen that right leg, reaching it out, stretching it farther and longer. And the right knee bends. We place the foot back to the mat, arms come front, and fold and curl. Curling and rolling up, sitting up nice and tall. We tilt the hips back, we curl back along the spine, and we pause once again in that lifted chest, fingers interlace, hands back behind the head, left leg to tabletop, and we reach out, long with that left leg. Slow as you reach that full extension of the knee, stretching the leg out of the hip, creating that space. One more leg extension. And we'll rest the foot back to the mat in line with the right leg. Arms come front and center, reaching forward. We curl and roll back up. Sitting up nice and tall and stretching long. We're going to lace our right leg under our left leg. Wrap it around to the outside of the hip. And then left leg crosses that right thigh. Right arm wraps the left knee. And we twist back to the left. Chest slightly lifts, creating a little bit of extension in the back. And we counter stretch. Wrap the left arm around the left knee. Right hand goes back. We twist back over that right shoulder, looking back over the right arm. And slow to unwind. Changing our leg cross. Right knee is bent with the foot flat. We lace our left leg under that right knee. Bring it to the outside of the hip, and then we wrap that right leg to the outside of that left thigh. We're going to wrap our left arm around that right knee, and we're going to twist back into the right. Extending the spine, sitting up nice and tall, lifting the chest slightly, creating more length in the back. And we counter stretch. Right arm wraps the right knee, and we twist to the left. Looking back over that left shoulder. And slow to unwind. Unwinding the legs, finding that bent knee, legs are parallel to one another, and arms are going to come forward. We're going to tilt the hips back. We curl back along the spine. Piece by piece, we pause at the base of the shoulder blade, and inhale, arms reach up overhead and back by the hip. Inhale, arms reach and lengthen. Challenging the abdominals. Try not to let the shoulders fall for the floor as the arms travel back overhead. Two more. and we fold and curl, rolling up, sitting up nice and tall, stretching for the ceiling, fingers interlace overhead, and we tip to the right and center. Stretch up and move to the left. To center, we stretch up again and to the right. Center, lengthen, and we move to the left. And arms back to center, curl back. Rolling back to the base of the shoulder blades. We're going to bring our legs up to tabletop position. And on the inhale, arms go overhead, legs go forward. And back, arms down, knees to tabletop. Inhale, open. Reach away from your center. And exhale to close, bringing the knees in and the arms down. One more. And we'll tuck the knees to the chest, curl, roll up. Coming up into that floating teaser prep position. Hinging at the hip, extending the back. And hands come off the legs and we hold strong for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Feet down, butterfly stretch. Roll forward, stretch forward out over the legs. Dropping the head. And we curl and restack. Coming on to our left side. We're going to keep ourselves propped up. So you want your elbow, your left elbow underneath that shoulder. Rib cage is pulled into the torso versus sagging towards the floor. Side lying left leg is in a bent position at the hip, knee, and at the ankle. So we've got flexion throughout the 3 joints. And we're going to float that right leg up off of the mat. And we're going to lift and lower. Reaching that leg out nice and long. Try to really keep the rib cage pulled together. It's easy to let the ribs drop for the mat as that leg lifts. And then we'll bend that right knee. Stack the legs. Bring the heels back in line with the tailbone. And right leg is going to twist up, keeping the feet together. And slow to lower. Left shoulder down and back. Pull the ribs in. Knit in nice and tight through that center. And allow that right leg to twist in the hip itself. One more. And we'll take a moment just to reset that position. And we're going to reach the right arm up overhead. Find that stability in the left shoulder as the hips lift up and through for that side plank. Squeezing through glutes and inner thighs. Draw the shoulders down. Knit in through the mid-ribs. Pull the belly tight to the spine. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Dropping the hips down. Squaring off, coming back to those right angles at the ankle, the knee, and the hip. And we're going to lay down onto that left side. Reach the arms forward. We're going to go for that rotational stretch, palm to start. Right arm then comes up, and we twist only through the chest and the shoulders to look back, stretch back over that right side, keeping the legs together. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back onto that left side. We're going to take our right hand, place it behind the head with bent elbow, and we twist back. Keep the legs and hips stacked. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slow to unwind. We're going to push up, change over to the other side. And we start up on that right forearm, pulling the rib cage away from the floor. Left leg floats, and we're going to lift up. Nice and smooth movement of that left leg. As the left leg, it lifts. Be mindful that the rib cage doesn't cave and drop for the mat. One more. And we stack the legs. Bring the heels back in line with the tailbone. Reset the upper body. Nice long spine. And then when you're ready, that left leg rotates in the hip to go knee up towards the ceiling. Last 2. And we'll take a moment to reset our position so we've got a really strong foundation for that side plank. Left arm reaches up for the ceiling, and then hips lift up, coming through. We're engaging up the inner thigh into the glutes. Pull the ribs and the abdominals in. Back extensors along the spine are fully active, and we hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hips lower. We're going to square the legs off once again, create those 90-degree angles at the ankle, knee, and hip, and we lay down on our right side. We're going to go straight arms out to that T position, palm to palm, and the left arm is going to reach up, and we're going to rotate back, looking back over that left shoulder as we twist through the mid-ribs. And slow to unwind. Coming back onto that right side, we'll take our left hand, place it behind the head, and then we rotate back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slow to unwind. And we're going to flip over face down. Hands are going to be by the chest with elbows bent, and we're going to push ourselves up into extension. Coming up as far as you feel comfortable. You could stay with a bent elbow and just lift the chest. You don't have to come into a full extension. And knees bend. We reach our hips back to our heels. And curling and rolling forward. Shoulders come forward, out over the elbows, over the wrists. We're going to curl the toes under and straighten the legs for our center plank. Pushing up nice and strong away from the floor. Legs are straight and long, good tension throughout the leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees down, knees apart, heels together. And we sit back, drop the chest down between the thighs. And we're going to curl and restack. Curling up, restacking the back. Arms are going to come up overhead. Fingers interlace. We stretch up towards the ceiling and we hinge to the right. Coming back to center, we extend up and to the left. At center, we'll drop the arms, cross our right arm over the front of our body, hook it with our left arm, drop the shoulders down, and we'll switch. Arms apart to stretch the chest, and then left arm comes across the chest, cross the body, hook it with your right. And arms open out, fingers interlace behind the back. Push the chest up and to the ceiling. And slow to reset, resting the arms down by your side. Great work today, guys. Nice job.